It's now time for the Brewer Sports full game recap. Go all the way back to November the 14th of the year 2024 when the Nashville Predators were in Edmonton on the second game of their 5-game CMA road trip to face off against the Oilers. Head coach Andrew Burnett deploys his lines of defensive combinations in the following way. Forsberg, O'Reilly, and Stamkos, Marchessault, Sissons, and Nyquist. Tomasino, Parson, Evangelista, LaRue, McCarron, and Smith make up your fourth line. Your defensive pairings are Shea and Yossi, Luzon and Carrier, Del Gaizo, and Chen. Scott Wedgwood gets the start on the first night of back-to-back games for the Nashville Predators on the road. We're 43 seconds into this game in the first period, and it's Wedgwood coming up with a save on Nugent Hopkins' first shot on goal of the game. And then at 109, Wedgwood another save, this time on Draisaitl, the Pred killer of all time, Leon Draisaitl, that is. I think that's his official title. 147 of the first period, though. It's Colton Sissons getting the first shot on goal. No, he's picking up a penalty. I'm sorry. 2 minutes for slashing. Colton Sissons off the box. 2 minutes for slashing. 147 of the first period. Wedgwood comes up with a save on Draisaitl yet again at 8:21 of the first period. This is what I was jumping ahead to. Michael McCarron gets the first shot on goal of the game for the Nashville Predators, and it happens to go into the net for his second goal of the season. It was a deflection of Roman Josi shot, and what a deflection it was from out of the high slot area. The Nashville Predators take the lead early in this game, 1-0 over the Edmonton Oilers on Michael McCarron's second of the season. Past the halfway point of the first period, and it's 11:23 now. Wedgwood comes up with a save on Nugent Hopkins, and there's not been a lot happening out there. The shots on goal, very limited, but in a burst of activity, things are about to pick up quite quickly. 11:55 of the first period, Pickard coming with a save on Tomasino, and then at 12:20, Wedgwood comes up with a save on Leon Draisaitl. Third shot on goal already in the first period for Draisaitl. 14:12 of the first period, Pickard coming with a save on Philip Forsberg. At 15:09, Wedgwood, a save on Connor McDavid. 16:39, Philip Forsberg would hit the post, getting a really good look at the net. 17:44, Pickard comes up with a save on LaRue's drive to the net. Great to see LaRue fighting and competing that hard to get through and find some space. And then at 18:47, we find Wedgwood coming up with a save on McDavid. The kick out prevents the puck from getting across the crease to the backside where there were plenty of options, and they were open. The 18:59 mark of the first period, Marchessault off the box, 2 minutes for tripping. Wedgwood would come up with a save on McDavid before the end of the first period. The Predators hold a 1-0 lead at the end of one, but Edmonton is out shooting Nashville 11-9. Again, a fairly inactive first 10 minutes of the game. We did have a penalty, a power play, and a goal, but other than that, just not a lot of activity going on out there. In the second half of the period, the activity certainly picked up. The carryover of that power play in the second is for 59 seconds. Edmonton would not generate any shots on goal, but you can see they're already starting to buzz here in this second period. Colton Sissons is off to the box at 1:02 of the seconds, or hooking, and it's going to be Skinner immediately off to the box, 2 minutes for holding the stick. This creates a 4-on-4 for a minute and 55 seconds. Wedgwood comes up with a save on Draisaitl at close range. A big save right there, but McDavid victimizes Wedgwood just moments later with the sixth goal of the season. It was a 2-on-1 with Draisaitl, and it was also Connor McDavid's 1,000th point, and you got to give your stick taps to that moment in time, and everyone did as they paused the game and held things up for a minute. The Oilers tie things up at 1 apiece at 5:30 now of the second period. The Oilers are continuing to buzz, and Nurse picks up his first goal of the season. It was a sharp angle shot that catches Wedgwood somewhat off guard. Nurse, a good job right there to pounce on the situation. The Oilers now have a 2-1 lead and are dominating the first 5.5 minutes of the second period. At 8:28 of the second, it's Wedgwood coming up with a save on Henrique. At 10:10, Wedgwood comes up with a save on McDavid plus his rebound. Follow-up at the 12:21 mark of the second period. It's Wedgwood coming up with a save on Kulak. 14:51, we find Perry off the box, 2 minutes for cross-checking Luke Evangelista. Yet another dirty play, but in the same broadcast, they will say things like, he's a gamer, he's a warrior, one of the best of all times, yet Corey Perry consistently with some of the dirtiest plays and dirtiest stick work that I've ever seen, and he consistently gets just a slap on the wrist for it. Corey Perry off the box, 2 minutes for cross-checking Luke Evangelista's beautiful face and almost damaging it. If you had damaged that face, Corey Perry, then I don't know. I don't know what might have happened from there. Wedgwood would have to come save on Janmark off of the rush. That's right, Janmark, the shorthanded scoring opportunity. The Preds wouldn't generate a single shot on goal. As a matter of fact, the power play would look pretty abysmal out there. 18-16 in the second period. Now Carrier off the box, 2 minutes for high, taking the Preds parade to the penalty box, continues their shorthanded again. Yossi, tremendous penalty killing out there on his shift. keeping the puck down in the other end of the ice, tying players up. He should have drawn the evening up penalty at some point on this. He was hooked. He was held. There were a lot of things going on. He was slashed. But that'll take us to the end of the second period. It is a 2-1 lead for the Edmonton Oilers, and the Oilers out shooting the Predators 26-13. So the Predators only 4 shots on goal in the second period, but the Edmonton Oilers 15 total shots on goal. Just like we started the second period, we start the third period with the Edmonton Oilers on a carryover of a power play. It's a brief one, 16 seconds, barely enough time for anything to really happen. So we move on to the 50-second mark, and we find Wedgwood coming up with a save on Corey Perry, 4:55 in the third. Wedgwood comes up with a save on Connor McDavid, 5:29 of the third period. It's Pickard coming up with a save on Luke Evangelista. That's the first shot on goal of the period for the Nashville Predators. So again, another period in a row consecutively where the Predators had 5.5 minutes of not being able to generate hardly anything towards the net. We're at 10:07 now of the third period. We're more than halfway through the third, and it's Pickard coming with a save on Tomasino, plus the follow-up by Luke Evangelista. The young kids on the third line doing a great job generating offense, trying to get the Preds back into this one. We go all the way to 17-12 now. We're in the third period on the backside of the sheet, and we find Cole Smith is on a partial breakaway off of LaRue's feed, and Cole Smith is finishing. It is the Predators tying the game up at 2 apiece with just over 2.5 minutes to go in this game. We find the 17:48 mark now of the third period. It's Wedgwood coming up with a save on McDavid. A dangerous scoring opportunity for Edmonton, trying to turn it back on and pick up that win in regulation, but it would go to overtime. At the end of regulation, tied at 2 apiece, the Oilers out shooting the Predators 32-22. So just to go back, the Predators had 9 shots on goal at the end of the first period. They had 13 at the end of the second period, and they had 22 at the end of regulation. So for the Nashville Predators, just simply not getting nearly enough shots, not enough quality shots. We're into the overtime session now, 3-on-3, 1:35 in, and it's Wedgwood coming up with a save on Hyman, 2:17 now into the overtime session. It's Pickard coming up with a save on Nyquist at 2:32 of the overtime session. It's Nurse coming up with this second goal of the season, second goal of the game from the sharp angle, beating Wedgwood. The Oilers come away with the 3-2 victory on home ice, and they outshoot the Nashville Predators 34-23. The Edmonton Oilers turned it on starting in the second period, and at different times in this game, they showed that they can absolutely dominate and take over, and things continue going poorly for the Predators against the Edmonton Oilers, but the Predators do fight back late in the third period for a second game in a row. They do pick up a point in a building that's been very difficult for them to secure points in over the last few years, and they wrap up the season series by at least getting a point from Edmonton. Out of the 6 points that were available against the Oilers this season, the Predators only pick up 1. The Oilers, because it was an overtime game, 3 points split between the two teams. The Oilers pick up 6 out of 6 points against the Nashville Predators in the regular season series. So that's it for the Preds and the Oilers. I don't see a scenario where these two teams meet in the playoffs. I don't want to see a scenario where these two teams meet in the playoffs, but the Predators, the word playoffs, they're a last place team right now. That's a long, long ways away. But hey, 3/4 of the season to go still. So Predators follow the Oilers, but they do pick up a point by getting to overtime for the second game of this road trip. 3 more games go on the CMA road trip. We got to break it down. We got analysis, box score, so much more coming up right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.